Hello, what up? What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. Blood Splatter Chatter here for some bonus blood on a Sunday afternoon with my brother, the Missing Link, to talk about the brand spanking new, just dropped on Hulu, Predator, Killer of Killers, and it is badass, man. I think
Yeah.
it's so badass. It's directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who did, first of all, he did Prey, came out in 2022, the last Predator movie. He's doing the new one, Predator Badlands, which comes out in November. And he did one of my, I was about to say one of my favorite movies of the last 15 years, but I mean,
Hell
one of
yeah.
them, top 20
Absolutely.
for sure. Like 10 Cloverfield Lane is
Yes.
awesome. Such a
You
good
know,
flick.
there was I looking him up yesterday because I had always associated my love for him stemmed from 10 Cloverfield Lane. Like I was hyped about seeing that. I actually love the Cloverfield franchise. I think it could be used more. But needless to say, what got me interested in that is because in like 2011 he had done like this short fan film for this game called Portal, and
Okay.
it was really impressive. So when I found out he had when he was attached to, I was like, okay, he can handle sci-fi on a low budget, And then when I seen 10 Cloverfield Lane, I was like, this guy's the shit, and
Right.
pretty much now this is solidifies like he's one to look out for.
Well, I mean, you've really just got me thinking how, like, the range that he has. Like 10 Cloverfield Lane is this little
Yep.
drama set in like a little space. There's almost zero action to it, pretty
Yep.
much, other than like maybe the very beginning and the end.
Yep.
And then this is like the ultimate fucking action movie. We just covered, you and I, we did on Pop Culture Philosophers Ninja Sword a couple
Yes.
weeks or like a week and a half ago over on Robbie's channel. And supposedly Dan Trachtenberg, that's one of his cited influences for this
You know
movie.
what? That came to mind when I swear to God, when I was with specifically the Ninja vs Samurai. I was like, I can see a little ninja
Yeah.
scroll in here, man.
Do you remember the key word when we were on Robbie's channel when we talked Ninja Scroll, which we could, everybody was just like badass,
Badass. Yeah.
badass.
Yeah.
And then you watch this and it's like, this is super badass. I went into it, and for people that don't know, it's an animated film. It was a
Yes.
secret film. It was just announced in October of last year that, hey, there is a secret Predator movie coming out directed by Dan Trachtenberg. And then I guess it was just in April that they announced the title of it and that it was an
Mhm.
animated film. So this is, and then it just sprung up on us. You and I, we were planning on doing something else this Sunday. We were going to do Final Destination
Yep.
Bloodlines, and then this just dropped, and I was like, oh shit, incredible. But the other thing that I didn't know about it is that it's an anthology film and it's like my favorite type of anthology film where
Yeah.
it tells three separate stories, all these action stories, all with like strong like story elements and themes to them, and then they all tie together at the end. All the stories join, they all take place across different time periods. We've got the Vikings, we've got feudal
Japan.
Japan, and then we
Yeah, that
have
was like
a World War II pilot. So sick, man. But what were your, well, yeah, just generally, we're gonna go through each one of the stories and then hit on the ending before we get up out of here. But what was your overall thoughts on it, dude?
I had a blast, man. It's I seen because it's getting some strong scores, and I seen some people getting
Mm-hmm.
upset about this can't be that good. It's like let's be real, you love the older Predator movies for what they are, but in certain aspects they are a little dated, or it's
Mm-hmm.
one's a classic, but it's like come on, two, it's got its cool elements, but it's like, come on, we've seen Alien versus Predator, guys. Like it's not hard feat top, but just the idea of it is crazy. You got so much you can do with this. In terms of different time period, like the different fighting styles, different warriors.
Right.
One thing I did love about this anthology setup was like sometimes with anthologies they're just random stories, right? And that's cool. That's what anthology is. But the way they like threaded the stories throughout this, but how they all accumulated in the same spot at the end. Essentially like we got backstory before we met the
Right.
characters, essentially.
Right. And this
Instead
could
of
easily be setting up a sequel. I mean, it's set up to set up a sequel. I was even wondering, like, through the movie, because I don't know a lot about what Predator Badlands is going to be about, other than that, from what I've heard, it's told from the predators, the yacht jows. Which, by the way, I guess it's Yatja. I'm gonna say Predator. I don't like Yatja.
Yeah, I don't like Yagja.
I feel like I'm pronouncing it wrong every time I say it. I know it's from the Predator's perspective, but I was wondering the whole time, like, could these characters be involved in Predator Badlands? But by the end of it, I kind of got the feeling no, like maybe this will be its own separate. Like I do feel like there'll be a sequel to this, but do you feel like these characters are going to be in Badlands?
Possibly.
Possibly.
Okay, so look at it this way, like the whole, from what I've gathered with the new Badlands movie, is the Predator, the Yaktja, is he's obviously, oh god, he's got people working against him, like his own kind. He looks like he's kind of like a smaller breed as well. And in Predators, that the Prison Planet one, they established that there's like classism between predators. Like there's predators that are way smaller. They're kind of looked down upon. Like they're treated like shit. Like they're treated as hunting game, to be honest. Like if they don't have any humans, they'll use like the smaller predators for like the bigger predators to hunt. So he seems like he's a smaller class. He's of the smaller class, and I can see him kind of, without saying too much what happened in this movie, I can see like forces aligning to take down that throne.
Like he could possibly team up with the heroes from this movie. I would be 100% for it. I really, even if they don't, I would just like to see a live action, not necessarily like remake of this movie, but I want to see these characters in live action.
Absolutely. That's what I kept thinking. Like, I think we can get it because without spoiling, you know who we saw at the end. If they made their appearance, I certainly think we could see these characters live action.
Right. Yeah. We'll touch on that at the end, man. So stoked about this. Sal, my brother. It's going well, my brother. How's it going for you? Did you watch this, Sal? Have you seen it yet? So as I said, I want to dive through all the different stories, at least touch on them. But like as far as the animation goes, it's so weird. Animation, like even in comics, like art and on cartoons, obviously, it's so like, I was gonna say subjective, but like anyway, basically my experience with it, the first like 2 minutes of it, I'm like, this shit sucks. I don't know why. It was like it stood out to me like very much looked like a video game, and I didn't like it. And then within 5 minutes, I'm like, this might be the best animation I've ever seen in my fucking life. And it was just like I had to get used to like just the shape of people and even like the way that the detail is illustrated. Like, what did you think of it? I thought it really kind of reminded me of. I had the same experience with the What If Disney Plus Marvel series where it was like it's almost too realistic. But then once I got used to it, I'm like, this is incredible. Like I think that MCU stuff or that What If is like top of the line too. But this maybe even topped it, especially as far as the action goes.
Yeah, I think like what throws people off about like this Into the Spider-Verse animation, I want to call it, is like it's the graphical glitch. It's almost like they're doing stop motion, but it's not stop motion, but it's got that element to it. But I think it was very polished in this one. I could see how it would be jarring initially, just because this animation style kind of, I feel like we've only really seen it in a playful style, but that's not to say it can't be dark. But no, I quickly, I didn't have too many issues with it, but I'm a trailer watcher. I knew what to expect. But
yeah, that's a good point. I loved hearing Sal said it took him off guard at first. There's something about the opening of it. I'm like, oh no, it's just like low quality, low budget. I don't know what it was. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh no, it's the exact opposite of that. It's weird.
But once the animation looks fine when they're like not doing much, but you really see it shine when they're in motion. The action scenes are what really brings it to life.
Agreed.
But I do know some people were turned off by the animation style, which I don't see how. I mean, if you like Spider-Verse, how do you
Right. I mean, I don't know. Like, I do feel like Spider-Verse just like upped the level of what animation needs to be in a feature film.
Yes,
like for sure. It took things to a whole nother level. One thing about it that, and it's to your point, like you said, it's as soon as that first action scene started, she chops that guy's head off with her shields, and it's like this one shot. I'm like, oh, okay. Now I can like see what we're in for. And I guess the way they did it is with motion capture. Like they had actors in motion capture. They did all of the action sequences that way and then animate it over that, which makes sense. And
Oh,
that's why it's so like there's certain moments where they're underwater and just like the way that the body was moving, like I could tell. I'm like, this has to be motion capture. Like they had to have actual actors do this because it's too realistic. You can't
yeah.
get that.
See, yeah, some of the it's gone. Sorry.
No, yes, I was saying it felt almost like low frame rate style. That's exactly like what you were saying.
Yeah.
Kind of jerky, but it really shined in the action for sure, dude. Spot on.
Did you have a least favorite story?
Yeah, you know what? Good. I like the way where your head's at. Well, shit. I mean, what I was going to ask you is, since they don't matter what order they are, for people that haven't seen it, what it is, as we said, was predator or different predators in each one,
Yeah.
looking for different people to fight. You know, the chosen ones, the chosen battlers, and they all tie together at the end. But anyway, I don't have a least favorite one. I was going to ask you what your favorite one was. Like, none of them jump out to me. All three of them were great. I thought the weakest part would have been the ending, even though it was super badass, but it didn't have like the strong story that I thought the other three had, because it was just an action set piece and it was incredible, but it wasn't, to me, that didn't stand out as much. As they're called the shield, the sword, and the bullet.
The bullet
Are the three different ones. Did you have a least favorite?
Yeah, I did. Well, I did. I guess it was in terms of the action for me. Maybe it's because I'd seen. Okay, so it was the World War II one.
Okay.
It was fine, but I had seen some. They just did the fourth season of Love, Death, and Robots, and they had something very similar to that. That I guess I was. That seemed that one's a little bit more extreme, I guess. So it was fine, you know, but it didn't have me. There wasn't many. It was some really thrilling moments, but it was never like oh shit, you know, the samurai versus the ninja, and then the Viking. There were some dope ass moments where you're like, oh my god, you know,
right.
There's no.
This had one that I can think of off the top of my head when the pilot Vandy, played by Michael Biehn from Terminator and Aliens. When he gets his head chopped off, that was great. And there's another one where like the pilot gets the engine yanked out in front of him, and then he's stuck to it, and you just hear him like screaming down. I mean, it was exhilarating. Sal saying Torres changed the tone for me, and I agree. But for me, he's the most relatable because he's an American. He talks like he's got the same accent that we do, and he kind of brought it into the modern day. It's still 1940, whatever. But you know what I mean? More relatable than a Viking and a ninja from feudal Japan.
You needed that in this story, to be honest. Not everyone can be a hardened killer, because the one of the best moments in the film was when he gets the iconic pistol and he's like, what the fuck? This isn't even from my era. Like,
it's my century. I love that too. Now, okay. That was from Prey, or was that, because at first I'm like, oh, that's from the end of Predator 2.
Yes.
Remember at the end of Predator 2, he goes into the ship and he sees stuff from all these different eras, which kind of probably inspired Prey. And that one is also in Prey. The gun that's in Predator 2 is also in Prey, and it's in this. Is that what it is?
If I'm remembering correctly, I think they kind of try to get the origin story of the pistol in Prey, but it first popped up in Predator 2, of course.
Okay.
And that was kind of like a little Easter egg they threw in for Prey, but that had me curious, just because I was like, in the Yawa or the Predator's heads, like it's the first gun is, they don't look at like swords or swords, I guess. Like, but it's interesting. He got like a samurai sword, not like a King Arthur sword or something like that.
He gives him Excalibur. Yeah, right. That would have been funny. He'd be like, not mine either, but yeah, it's close enough.
But like, this is the start of the gun. This is all they use, you know, even though we've evolved quite past that since then. Well, now, I had another question. That's okay. So I asked you, remember the other day, it was like, have you seen Predators, the one Prison Planet?
And I haven't, by the way. That's the only one that I haven't seen, that I've heard mostly.
It's pretty dope.
Good. Well, I figured even at the end of this, I'm like, oh, that probably would have. I assume that movie informs you a lot about like the culture. You know what I mean? It goes to their home planet. I assume that kind of ties in with the end.
Yes, they had a nice. I don't know why I never got a sequel, but they had kind of a setup similar to this one in the end in terms of the heroes. But in that one, they were all just like killers, mercenaries, hitmen, serial killers.
Okay.
But this one, and predators, they never established if it was were they killers that happened to kill predators. Like in this one, the only reason they took everybody is because they defeated one of their kind,
which is great. It's such a good setup for. Plus, it's not just a great like setup for a movie and like a structure for a film, but it also kind of shows where their head is. Dan Trachtenberg's like, look how many of these movies we could do. We can go, you know what I mean? Each one of these could have been a full-length movie, and they could go back and revisit any era they want and make a full-length feature film countless times over and over throughout history. They've struck gold with
man. Alien, I feel like, I know some people we talked about this last night. I know some people are like Romulus wasn't really for them. I loved it, but I think the Alien franchise and the Predator franchise are in such a great place right now. Like, you got Dan Trachtenberg handling all the Predator stuff right now. Fede Alvarez is making a sequel for Romulus, so I'm excited for that.
Right. They should swap. Stuff. They should each do another one in their franchise and then swap. I want to see Fede do a Predator movie.
Oh, someone takes.
They should do Alien versus Predator, but like, I'll direct this part, you direct that part. Like, swap. That would be kind of awesome. Because Fede doing Predator.
That would be dope.
Here's something I wanted to ask you, like, what, and you guys in the chat too. What's the better design? Because I think it's like I couldn't think of a better someone that would beat either of these as far as a Xenomorph and the Predator, as far as character design. I don't know. I was gonna say I lean towards Predator. They have so much going for them, but the Alien is even scarier.
Yeah, bro. It's like the no eyes, the mouth within a mouth. There are both great designs.
The mandibles is super unique, like for the Predator.
With the Predator, I find them a little bit more.
Multiple looks because they've got the helmet, which they look badass with the helmet on, and then they take that off, and they've got the dreads. They've got the green. Yeah. They can be invisible. I was thinking like just how cool the Predator is. They're kind of noble because they don't kill people that don't have guns and that aren't a threat to them, and they're seeking out, the biggest challenges that they can find. Yeah. They're like Batman. Almost, because they're cerebral and they've got all this crazy technology and they've got the coolest look. They're just the shit. Like the more you think about it, I'm gonna say Predators over Xenomorphs, just because you can't really see like a Xenomorph having culture too, and like society in the same way.
Predator is just a threat all the way around, bro. Like they're gonna stalk you. As Xenomorph is scary too, but it's like they're not too intelligent, Like.
Right, I don't see a Xenomorph like flying a ship and like being super cunning. Maybe like low level cunning, like the same that we saw like in Cujo. They're more like a creature, and Xenomorph or the Predator. They are that. They're like it's a creature feature, but there's so much more than that. They like take a creature feature to like a whole nother level.
Oh yeah. I gotta go Predator all day, bro. I love that the mandible design.
Sal saying this is a good point, like how each of them has their distinct look. Like I'm not like super hip to the franchise where I know the ins and outs of it, but I do know like the Grendel King at the end of this. There's like different breeds, like you were saying earlier. Yep. Don't you think that one that had the Suicide Squad necklace on and they blew his head off? Like he was probably one of those like runt
the low level
breeds, right? That's kind of what I was thinking too.
I was wondering if it probably wasn't, but I was curious. I was like, was he some Predator? Was he the Predator we saw at the end of Predators, or something? Or he's probably some throwaway character, but
I watched one video that was going through each of them, and it was like each one of them we had probably seen before, or at least that breed. The first one is like huge, with the one that fights the Vikings.
With
and they were saying that that's probably from the Shane Black, like the version that's in the Shane Black one from like 2018, 2019. The one that was really bad. I think it was called The Predator.
The Predator, yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I think the one at the end was new, the Grendel King, like the giant fucking one with the 50,000 dreads hanging off him.
What was your favorite story?
It's so tough because I thought the sword was super, super badass, and I love that it was silent. Like I love a good silent comic book, and it reminded me of that, obviously. But I think I kind of leaned towards the first one because it had each of them had this really strong like a familial theme, like someone's losing a family member or somebody's doing something for a family member that they lost. Avenge me. That one, like my experience with the first one, I didn't know it was an anthology going into it. So the whole time I'm like, she's like, if I die, avenge me. So instantly I'm like, oh, this is going to be the kid's story.
Right.
And then
Yep.
like as
So,
it goes on, I'm like, okay, she's going to die. He's going to be the lead character. And then it fooled me. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. When he dies, R.I.P. Anders, that really like, emotionally that hit me. And I thought like the performances, the animated
yeah.
performances were incredible. It was such a good moment because you think he's going to live. She's all relieved. And then she's like, oh no, he's going to die. And it was such like strong motivation. And the way she killed the predator when he blasted her, she holds up a shield. I'm like, what is this? Is this an adamantium shield? Like, what is it made of? That this wooden shield survived that, but still, it was a super badass way for them to kill the predator. What was your favorite?
I got to go with that one. I did think the ninja one was cool just because I was like, you know, the whole no dialogue, and there was that funny moment in it where he's like fucking taking out all those guards just so they don't hit the bell, and he just stops them, and it's all for nothing anyway. So he kind of he puts his head down. I thought that
I loved how that like kind of thematically fit along with the silent segment. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to speak in this one. We're also going to have these bits where we're trying to keep other people quiet. I thought that was really, really cool. And it goes with the ninja theme, you know, ninjas being silent.
Yeah.
So dope.
Yeah, that you know, that was cool, but emotionally just, and you know, just as a character, I loved the Viking chick. She was just his boss. Fucking man. I didn't know you could fuck people up with shields like that. You know, like you only need a shield as a weapon, and you can do. I mean, I've seen Captain America, but she's not a super soldier. You know, she's a regular person.
Captain America's not decapitating people and doing taking it to the level that it was so good. It was so good. Like her performance, she's the one out of all of them that would be the coolest to see in live action.
Yes.
Like I feel like we've seen plenty of people like Torres, young pilot. You know what I mean? Not that it wasn't a cool character, and the same as the ninja. You know what I mean? He's a silent, really noble seeming ninja. We've definitely seen that. This female Viking with her gray hair and her dead son. It was so good. Yeah. And like I said, she sweeps you off your feet with the first fight. Like right away, you're like, okay, all right, this is what this movie is. But the
shit talking to Grendel King the entire time.
The second one, I don't know. I thought it was almost just as good though, because like we said, the look of it, just like the look of everybody, what the themes of it, and the brother and the son, the way they're set to fight against each other, forced to fight, and again, all of it told through looks on these animated characters, which like that's hard to sell, I think. So that was really impressive.
That, you know, that I'm a little, I was gonna say I respect on its own, but it reminded me of this Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic computer game. Like they used to do like these little 12-minute movie shorts. Dope as hell, so dope. But there was one about like these two twins that it was very similar to this, like two twins. They're brought up by this father, you know, they're force sensitive, training to be the Jedi, and eventually like one of them starts leaning more towards the dark side, the other's on the light side. And it's like towards the end, like I think it was like the light brother kid, like the brother who was on the dark side, he got pissed off about something, and the brother, they focused on the light side, ended up killing him, and it like tarnished him. It's very, you know, not as similar, but it gave me hints of that.
And this is a thing. It's tricky when we watch these movies and we turn around and we do the show right away. I'm trying to cram all this background info and stuff in my brain, but the first story and this one are supposedly based on like the first one is based on an actual Viking story from back in the day, and the second one is based on like this famous Japanese story. And I wouldn't be shocked if both of them. If Star Wars was also referencing that, the same kind of setup where you've got these twins fighting each other, their dad pitting them against each other. But I mean, it doesn't seem like a very familiar story, but it was like fresh and it looked so good.
Yeah, they did it in there. Like, and I don't, you know, I don't know, I haven't looked hard enough, but I know I've wanted to see fucking ninjas versus samurai for a while now, you know, and the setup they had, you know, it showed both their strengths. Like I loved when they're having a final duel. and like the samurai dude's like running through the place, just like slipping his armor on like one piece at a time while like blocking, deflecting shots and shit like that, and like puts on a samurai helmet by the end of that shit. It was so dope.
Dude, you know what I loved? And I like spoke to myself out loud. I hope you guys can't hear my fucking annoying ass dog over there yiping. But when he sneaks up and he's on his ninja shit and he's under that log going through the water and he blows that poison dart at someone, I was like, this is so badass.
Yes.
Like I said it out loud. I'm like, God damn. I probably said it out loud like 2 or 3 times while watching the movie the first time. It's like, wow. Like these actions, I've been out of the MCU for a while.
Yeah.
I haven't, you know what I mean? Because their movies have fallen off. I haven't been as into it. And I don't find myself watching like hardly any action movies like we talked about before. Like if it wasn't a superhero movie and it's an action flick, and it's came out in the past 15, 20 years, there's a really good chance I haven't seen it. But this was like kind of reminding me of what I love about a really good action movie in so many ways. It was top notch.
No, yeah, I gotta echo that. Like when I was watching this, there's like a lot of moments where I was like, this is really a good example of what animation can be used for, because it's like it's done real enough where it's like especially with 3D, where it's like you could do it 2D as well, you know, but it's a little bit more palpable in a sense with the 3D environments and I don't know how to explain it.
Totally.
But it's an example of like animation doesn't just always have to be kid. Like there can be some great uses of animation for adult stories and stuff like that. And I think this is like a prime example of that.
Like I think this would have hit equally as hard either way. Yeah. I don't know, but don't you feel like they can go a little bit further with the action pieces for probably cheaper?
Yeah,
when they do animated, so that it's almost like no holding back on a small budget. Like he made this at the same time that he's making another feature-length Predator film.
And it's like
Big Herm, my brother, what's going on, man?
Imagine, you know, the all that fucking the time, especially if you're with an anthology like this. If you try to do a live action, you gotta scout locations. You gotta go to different parts of the world, spend money for that. And so with this, it's all from one
period pieces. You got all the outfits. Exactly, man. I'm sure. I mean, it's got to be so much cheaper. I love this too. So I wasn't even sure what was happening at first. It was only on the rewatch that I was like, oh, she finds this little pocket of air that she goes up and breathes on. No, I love how calm and chill she is under the water too.
Oh, she was I would have been fucking panicking. Like, is something going to grab me from underneath or something? By the way, I guess the same thing bothered me about the pilot dude when he crashed his ship and he shot the flare. And I'm just like, bro, what about fucking sharks? What if like, you know, Megalodon is in there? I don't, you know. But no, when he jumped down in the first one, on the ice lake or whatever, and he's like looking for her. I was like, oh, bro, he sees her under there. That's why he's walking right up. You know, he's just gonna. But no, he didn't. You know,
she's cold. You know what? This is something that I take issue with. You're telling me this creature can only see through heat signature? Like, I don't love that.
No
like,
wood,
really?
No weak wood.
Yeah. Did because he uses technology to do that, I'm pretty sure. Did they not evolve regular sight? Why do they have eyes? Like, that doesn't perfectly jive with me. I thought it was a little bit silly. We've got to fly up. It's like, oh, you guys have not even seen Iron Man yet. You know that this is the move. Like, it doesn't come out for another 60 years, and you're about to do the Iron Man move. What up, Bobby? Appreciate you guys popping in, man. By the way, I throw it out here right now. I wanted to say this at the beginning, but of course I forgot. This Friday coming up, super stoked, super freaking stoked. We're going to be giving away a Jason mask, one to the panel and one to the chat.
I'm winning
every Friday the 13th. We get together and we talk a Friday movie, and this time we are on part 4. So I'm so excited about that. It's one of my favorite shows to do every time it comes around, and this is the only one we get this year. There's not another Friday the 13th until like I think March or something. But then there's another one the month later. So yeah, there's.
I was gonna say, aren't there usually like 2 in a year?
A lot of times. Yeah, I guess it's always like the same couple months too that they fall in. They'll fall in either October or whatever. But I guess it's like the same few months that they tend to fall in. But hell yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's touch on this before we get up out of here. The ending, I guess I kind of said my piece on it. I have no like issues with it. But the last 20 minutes, we've gotten so much action throughout this whole thing. And then the last 20 minutes, it's pretty much just an action set piece and a fight.
Yeah.
We've gathered everybody together. We're on their world. It's a cool setup. Like there's no issue with it. But then there's not that that kind of pulling at your heartstrings moment that you get in all three of the other ones. These kind of tender moments. Maybe actually there is a little bit when the Viking lady kind of takes the one kid under his wing and relates it to his son. You get that, but not as much as the other ones.
Because I'm trying to give some bolster, but I think because by the time we hit this, they're like we got 20 minutes left. So like you said, it is there's not a lot. There's small emotional moments, but there's not as much as or strong emotional moments as there were throughout the other three shorts. Because like you said, the callback to the kid when she's about to take out the samurai and the kid shoots it and she like looks and sees her son. Right. I thought that was really cool.
Definitely.
But I think they did a good job at getting them the rapport, because that's essentially because these three characters are supposed to kill each other. They don't know shit about each other. They can't talk to each other. So I think that with the time they had left, they did a good job of keeping it entertaining while building the rapport and making it seem believable. Because by the end of it, I was like, yeah, these guys are calling brother. I believed it. They were brothers through blood, through battle. Like you don't need to know someone for that long it's like a shared traumatic experience.
Right. I always think of Speed. At the end of Speed, they say relationships that begin after traumatic events never last. Old standard Keanu. I'm still shipping them.
I need to rewatch that.
Yeah. I mean, they did like what they could.
Yeah.
What I think what it is they only, correct me if I'm wrong, do they only fight each other at the end? They never really, they like escape the predators on the planet, but do they really battle with them in that fight that happens, or just that giant like animal that comes
just
out?
The giant thing that's another thing I thought they were going to do, at least like have them go up against like some predators to really show their skill set, since they killed predators themselves. Oh yeah, I would appreciate that. The battle could have been a little bit, looking back on it does seem like they kind of wrapped it up very quickly, but I would have wanted a little bit more battle.
Sal's got to go. I didn't understand what you meant at first, but yes, dude. He says he's waiting for some end game battle where all the warriors in stasis are freed from the predator planet. I was waiting to see Arnold, like they cloned him or they got him. You know what I mean? Like give me an Arnold little Easter egg in here. That would be so cool. Little spoiler, but you saw at the end where they showed the girl from Prey. Oh, she survived at the end of Prey, right? So they must have like went and captured her after. People were wondering if that's like alluding to a sequel to Prey, but I don't know, because now she's off planet. Is she a clone? I don't know. Also, one thing while I'm on it, from what I've heard, they're not time traveling. Like,
so there's just
you would think, yeah, like exactly. They're doing some kind of suspended animation. Because my thought is like, oh, this is confirming that predators have the ability to time travel. And from what I saw, like they've said, no, there was no time traveling happening. It was just, we capture you in your time, we suspend you, and we bring you to this moment.
I think in Prey 2, I think it's going to be, or I don't know if we'll get a Prey. If it is Prey, I don't know if it'll be focused on her. It maybe someone with her tribe. But like when I was like at the end of the Predator movie, because it opened, I'm not going to tell you too much, but it opens up with like them just falling in the sky.
That's all I've seen. Okay. I've seen the very opening to it.
So at the very end, they accomplish their task only to realize they're on a whole, they think they're just on one location. They're on a whole fucking game planet, hunting planets. And they see all these other people starting to fall from the skies. So in your head, you're thinking like, oh, they're going to go team up with all the other mercenaries and shit, and build a little. So it seems like they're kind of taking that idea and building it for this Prey or the killers of killers, if all the frozen warriors wake up and like try to wage war against the Yaja, whatever, the predators. I think that'd be pretty sick. Pretty epic.
I dig it. No, I think that would be super badass. And I do think like this is the place to do it in an animated movie. You're not going to be able to pull, I mean, you could, but it's going to be a lot easier and cheaper to pull off on an animated movie. I really want to see, I do want to see a sequel to Prey that has that same girl, I guess, because sometimes when you have the same character, you got to stretch a little bit to make it believable. It's like she's really going to end up fighting another predator, but she was solid enough that it could work. But even more than that, I have to see these characters.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think it's pretty sure that it's going to happen. They're going to do another one of these. I just hope that Trachtenberg is the one that does it.
Man, I was already excited for Badlands, but this has me fucking through the roof for Badlands. Like,
way more excited after watching this. Exactly. Hell yeah. Well, dude, I feel like we done did it, man. I mean, I don't know if you got anything else. Just any dope moments you want to point out. There's a lot of dope moments, but let's go ahead.
Yeah, there was.
Anything you want to add to it, go ahead and add to it with your rating, brother. You guys in the chat too, if you've seen this, if you haven't seen this, go watch it. Highly, highly recommend it. It's like an hour and 20 minutes of badassery, dude. It's so sick.
Sorry. One dope ass moment. There's so many, but I love when she's like, of course, rappelling down at the end and dodging everything, and she jumps and smashes because they got the ship locked up and they can't go anywhere, so she frees the ship. Then another dope moment was one more where they're fighting the Grendel King, whatever, and the samurai, she gets thrown down, the samurai moves in, he does a quick, he nods at her, and she nods back at him, and they just start going to town on the dude. It's just many moments like that where you're just like, yes,
right,
peak action,
right. And then it also has, I was gonna say your little MCU-y moments, but it's really act like Lethal Weapon. We'll give credit where credit's due. They're the ones that really started the little quippy comedy moments in your action movie, or at least I think that's what really started it. But you get those, like when the dude flies off on the plane, super dramatic, and then the mechanic's like, he's going to die. It's those little bit, and probably with Torres is when you get the most comedy.
Yes,
but you even do get it like in the Viking one, where she comes in and is like, I am the daughter of blah blah blah. You killed my father, and he's like, who? And she's I am the daughter of. She just kind of repeats herself. That's
true.
Sal giving it a 4.5. Well, where do you land on it, Link?
I went up just because I just need, I want to give it a 5, but I'm really trying to hold those. But I'll give this a 4.75. It came out of nowhere. It's really strong entry to the Predator franchise.
Maybe the second best. It might.
Yes.
Just real quick. Sorry to interrupt you. I mean, I still haven't seen Predators, but Predator 1 is always going to be number 1. And then for me, it's either this or Prey at number 2. Predator 2 was cool when I was a kid and I watched it.
It's cool for it. Yes.
But when I watched it last year, and I don't know, it has its moments, but it's not on the level of this, Prey, or Predator. Not even close. And
Absolutely. I agree.
The Predator was fucking terrible, and I haven't seen Predators. And Alien vs. Predator, whatever. Those two, we won't even count them. But this is top 3 for me. And you could make an argument that it's like the best one. You really could. You could make that argument.
You've done you've just injected a boost of creativity and just open up a can of worms into this franchise that it could live off for years to come. He's giving them injection that they've been struggling to find.
They're going to look back at this franchise and it's going to be like pre-Prey and post-Prey.
Yep.
Because post-Prey, they're like, oh, duh, this is what this franchise is. It's the franchise that travels through time. And you know what I mean? It's going to be they're going to make so much goddamn money because they finally did that idea. I'm not wrong, right? Before Prey, they never do that, right? They just kind of allude to it in 2.
No, yeah, it was always there's always modern times. They alluded that they had been on Earth before with certain items, but we had never, even the serial killers, they were all in the Predators, they were all modern killers.
Right.
This was Prey was the first blast to the past.
Hell yeah. Dude, I'm gonna jump right there with you because same, dude. I could give it a 5. But you, I'm trying to hold my 5s for the all-time, especially this being a horror channel. This isn't going on my top 10 horror movies of all time or whatever, so I should probably slow my roll on it. But for what it is, I was really trying to think, is this the greatest? And it's not, because I would still take Into the Spider-Verse over it, but it's up there as being one of the greatest animated action films of all time.
Yes.
I'm not putting it up against Toy Story and shit like that. But as far as like animated action movies, which isn't my specialty, so take it with a grain of salt.
And
But one of my favorites.
You're not gonna find, in this style, you're not gonna find like all this Into the Spider-Verse amazing, for it. But those different things, like it has great action, but you're not gonna find such hardcore bloody action on this style in Into the Spider-Verse or something else that has this similar animation style.
Just anime, and I'm not as familiar with anime. It takes a lot of that inspiration from anime.
Yeah.
You're right. You're never going to see this in a Pixar is not doing this. They're not doing. Although I watched it on Disney Plus, so fucking take that. They might as well do it. So whatever.
One day.
Hell yeah, dude. So a 4.5 from Sal and a 4.75 from you and I. Hell yes. And again, this Friday coming up, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, giving away two Jason masks that I've made myself. I actually have some blanks coming. They should be here tomorrow. I'm gonna crank out a couple more. Just I don't want to run low on my supply of Jason masks. But yeah, doing that, and then this Wednesday, man, in the afternoon, super stoked to be doing this. I still haven't watched it yet. Sputnik just dropped on Shudder. It has 5 skulls. It's from 2020. It's a Russian film.
Okay.
I did watch the first 5 minutes, and we said this. We've talked about this before. I always have this experience, or I often have this experience with foreign films. Like I'll put it in, and like the first couple minutes, I'm like, fuck, what did I get myself into? I got to read this whole fucking thing, and I was kind of feeling that at the beginning. I'm like, I ended up not watching it, but we're gonna get through it, and I guarantee you, within 10 minutes, it's gonna be we'll be over that.
So that's all it is. You got to get over the hump because it's like Ugly Stepsister. I was like, oh my god, bro, I'm gonna have to read this whole thing, but it was worth it towards the end.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully this good one gets worth it really quick. But I appreciate you guys in the chat. Sal, Bobby, Big Harm, you big sexy bastard. I hope to see you guys on Wednesday. I really hope to see you on Friday when we're giving away a Jason mask. Go study up. I'll tell you right now, if you know these kills, it's the same shit we've been doing. I don't know. I might add some tweaks to it, but the last few shows that we've done, I've showed people a picture of a counselor or a victim, and you guys got to tell me how he dies. We'll be doing something like that, and then some other fun trivia games, as well as reviewing Friday the 13th Part 4, which I'm super stoked about. A lot of people's favorites. It's never been one of my favorites, but it's up there. But it is a lot of people's favorites.
Is that the first one where he gets the mask? Or
no, that was one we did last year. This is the one that has little Corey Feldman in it.
Oh, okay. I know what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, hell yeah. And Tom Savini comes back to do the kills. It's the last one that Tom Savini was involved in. So super stoked about that. Super stoked about Sputnik this Wednesday. Again, appreciate you guys in the chat. Missing Link, my brother, I appreciate you. And we will see you guys on Wednesday for Sputnik.